in. This time it shall be Ronan Kelleher in acknowledgement of his 50th cap. Ireland were as tough as teak in overcoming Wallabies in Sydney. Not everything went as smoothly as it perhaps should have done, and I'm sure what Andy Farrell will be looking for here is to marry that same mental fortitude which got them across the line against Australia, and marry that with a slot machine efficiency in line out and scrum. But a special moment for Ronan Kelleher. 50 times an Ireland international, and also, of course, a British and Irish Lion. We saw Tyke Byrne crossing the white line there. He too, there are not too many things in rugby he hasn't achieved. Well, he marks another one off here. He is captain of Ireland for the first time. Japan, well, since they were beaten at the Aviva Stadium last November, they've run Wales very close to a point in Cardiff. They beat Georgia in Tbilisi, and then that stunning victory a week ago in Tokyo against Italy. The McDonald Jones Stadium in Newcastle, a couple of hours up the road from Sydney. Bizarrely, I suppose, as a home fixture, it's Japan who've had to do all the travelling. And we'll start with the anthems, and the first will be the anthem of Ireland. Let's take a quick refresh of the teams. Eddie Jones has made just one change to the Japan 23. Tyrone Main comes in on the wing to earn his second cap. That's 4 years on from making his debut. Wholesale alterations for Ireland. Just about everyone who didn't get a run against Australia does so here. Kieran Frawley at fly half. Sean Jansen earns his first cap. There are three others on the bench who might do the same. Tyke Byrne his 72nd cap, but his first as captain. Warner Durns, the captain of Japan, a man now regarded among the best locks in world rugby. He was part of that quite superb Hurricane squad, which put 60 points on the Chiefs 3 weeks ago in the Super Rugby final. Craig Casey there wearing 9 for Ireland. Big opportunity for him. Something Stuart Lancaster was talking about before the match. The role of Kieran Frawley, bear in mind, he's only started at 10 once in the last 12 months. Stuart reckons he needs some help from his right, particularly. No better man to comment on that than the man sat alongside me today, Gordon Darcy.
Good evening and good morning. I think it's a great point, and I think Stuart and Rory made it very well. Kieran Frawley, he's getting an audition, getting an opportunity, but he has Stu McCluskey, a centre in form that he can absolutely rely on today.
Steepling kick to get us underway. Andrea Piardi there is the referee. The assistants Ben O'Keefe and Morne Ferreira from South Africa. TMO Matteo Lipperini and Ian Tempest of England is the foul play review officer. He'll be watching the game this afternoon from the Hill Dickinson between England and Fiji. I think feeling a little homesick because he can almost virtually see the Hill Dickinson from his back garden. Over there on the other side of the Mersey is the scrum half, Saito. There is just a sense that after a period of lull, really, for Japanese rugby post-2019, that they have perhaps woken up from that slumber. Those results since the heavy defeat at the hands of Ireland in November have been very encouraging indeed.
Yeah, and you've got Eddie Jones coming back from his sabbatical. I think it's probably the best.
Is that what you want to call it?
Yeah. But he will have them, I think, building on the performance from last week. You're starting to see it, and again, Stuart touched on this and saying this is not a harem-scarum type of a team. There's a very orthodox, there's a structure to how they play. They just play at pace, and we'd expect to see an awful lot of that today.
That, of course, is what famously undid South Africa 11 years ago now, the so-called Brighton miracle. Michael Leach on the bench, he was the captain back in those days, and he really is the embodiment of some of the great moments of Japanese rugby. Stuart McCluskey wearing 12 for the second straight week. Man well into his 30s, but really playing the best rugby of his life. That was neatly picked up. Jacob Stockdale wearing 11, the Ulsterman. Andy Farrell testing the depth of his squad today, and that was a loose pass, and it's Jamie Osborne who just goes back to rescue things.
Craig Casey doing exactly what you want to do. Two kind of bad decisions, just the blocked kick from Kieran Frawley, which is the right decision, but just the execution slightly off, and then a missed pass. But you can see Craig Casey now just taking a little bit, taking that the general role, calming things down and going and just rebuilding, getting the ball into the air for contestable, and a good chase from Jimmy O'Brien.
Well taken, with the ball coming over his shoulder by Ueda, the right wing. Fed out there from Shimakawa. An early touch for the new man, Tara Main, but just getting a bit too much of a touch on that, directly into touch. Here he is, Tara Main, the only alteration to the Japan 23 today.
The debutant there, Johnson, making a real nuisance of himself. Really good textbook tackle. All those kids looking at home. Nice low, good shoulder contact area, and the Irish line-out woes continue.
And it's Tara Main who's bursting clear, and Osborne, and can anyone catch him? Well, we saw the set pieces go awry on occasions last week in Sydney for Ireland, but that one, an absolute disaster, and Tara Main, earning his first cap for 4 years, is handed it gift-wrapped.
He took the words right out of my mouth. Ireland could not have put a prettier bow on it for him, but absolute opportunist, right place, right time. But Kieran Frawley slips, but he still has to find the footwork, he still has to get the pace, and he still has to finish that. That's It's a nice try and a very unfortunate, nervy start for Ireland.
Well, let's face it, it was a nervy start for Tara Main. Getting too much boot. This is second involvement. And really going from one extreme to another. It's quite a juxtaposition, isn't it? Unforced error one moment, try the next. And Matsunaga, who was 100% last week in Tokyo, retains that record here. And Japan, in Queensland, a home fixture, are 7 points to the good.
It's hard to figure out there, just with the kind of glancing blow, but there is a timing, is a throw. Kind of looks like it's a bit of both. But again, it's a very error-strewn opening 5 minutes to Ireland.
Possession secured there by Jack Connelson. Long pass off the left hand, certainly playing with plenty of ambition inside their own 22. Ueda, I think, perhaps being given a pass he didn't entirely want. But the referee was playing an advantage.
And the young Japanese out half, Ryonosuke Ito, coming from university, very young, and Eddie Jones really happy to give him as much exposure as he possibly can. He likes to play with tempo, and he's got a kind of a lovely little short kicking game. Gets not the biggest length on his kicks, but they're very, very quick. They move quickly across the air. But yeah, he likes to move the ball, and they do like to play with a bit of pace.
Yes, Ito only made his debut last week, and he's been getting rave reviews. Gonzalo Quezada, the Italy coach, and don't forget, an international fly half of great quality himself, paid a few compliments to the new Japanese 10 after Italy's defeat a week ago. Andy Farrell really testing the depth of Ireland's playing resources tonight. The Leinster spine remains, but there are potentially 4 new caps. One already starting, Sean Jansen from Connacht. Connacht and Ulster well represented, and Munsterman as captain. That was well taken under pressure by Jimmy O'Brien, who came in very late last week to replace Ulster's Rob Ballacoon. Ballacoon, who still battling a bit with that hamstring injury, so not involved this evening. The ball squirting around, and it's Jack Conan who claims it, despite the presence of Saito, the scrum half. There goes Tyke Byrne, who was quite imperious a year ago on the British and Irish Lions tour.
Yeah, Jack's he's been a great player for Ireland, for Leinster for a considerable amount of time here, but you can look at Ireland. This is an area they have struggled a little bit in that middle part of the field when they get that transition, and this is exactly, you kick the ball to get the possession back, and this is where Ireland need to be better. This is where Frawley and Casey have to manage the game better.
Well, the arm is out from Andrea Piardi, so he's playing an advantage here to Ireland. Here is Frawley. On there to McCluskey, who had to take a couple of grabs at that. There's McTimoney getting a start, the Ulsterman, who is outstanding whenever he puts on that green jersey. The line speed from the Japanese defence really is outstanding. They've got Gary Gold marshalling that. Keller with a good offload. Osborne. This is patient and precise from Ireland. The gaps may be starting to open a little. Jimmy O'Brien taking play inside the 22. There's Tom O'Toole. Yet another start for him on the other side of the scrum, if you know what I mean. He's in his trade as a tight head, but look at this. And Stockdale finding his way through that tackle. The alarm bell starting to ring here for Japan. The defence stretched out there on the far flank. 4 metres to go. Casey pops it up to Timoney. Ireland looking to bounce back from that early setback. Casey. On there to Robbie Henshaw. Casey getting his hands on it once more. Look at the green jerseys lining up. And in the end, it is Nick Timoney who crosses, as he did against Japan back in November.
It was really good from Ireland there. Well, they get into the scoring position. We know how ruthlessly efficient Ireland are when they get into that 5-metre channel just in front of the game in the try line. But what was the difference in all of this play? It looks like the Japan defence was starting to get on top, but Ireland started pushing the risk envelope a little bit. Offloads. So probably 3 or 4 offloads that kept the phase alive, because the Japan defence they're not committing numbers into the breakdown, as Kieran Frawley just knocks the two points over. But the Japan team not putting numbers into the breakdown, Ireland keeping the ball alive and moving it away from the breakdown. Really smart play.
He's got quite a strike rate, hasn't he? That's his 7th try in his 13 test matches. Back to back against the Brave Blossoms.
He's got his eyes set on Will Jordan's record that he set this morning.
I might suggest, Gordon, that was said with some degree of irony. That record is still somewhere in the distance. There he is. Nick Timoney, a man who I think to say it about a lot of Irishmen, as you can, a lot of South Africans in the back row, and 1 or 2 other nations too. Were he perhaps born elsewhere, he'd be a regular starter with Nick Timoney. But he does take virtually every chance that comes his way.
We move a little bit here. Come in. Yeah, that's a mark.
Just as you're going to see the pack pop down for their second scrum. This is an area I think that Kieran Frawley can try and maybe stamp his little, not his authority, but his little template on the game. So when you have a scrum in this area of the field, it's outside of your 22, the risk, you're in that kind of orange zone in the middle. The field.
Coach!
You've got 16 players who are in that scrum. You've got 2 scrum halves. Look at all the space that can be on this field. I think this is a brilliant attacking opportunity. Scrum, and something you really want to see Kieran Frawley take authority here and look to try and squeeze as much as they can out of it here.
We come in.
It really is the best opportunity to have a run, to have a little feel, see where you can get somebody. Stu McCluskey, can you get the ball in his hands? Robbie Henshaw, can you get it to him with a bit of space? Get the balls to the wing, have a little feel, see where it is, and if it doesn't work, then you can always kick. But this is an opportunity I really like to see teams, or want to see teams, show a bit of ambition.
We saw earlier this morning, didn't we, with the French team, with effectively their 2 playmakers, 1 at 10, 1 at 15, always asking questions. Of the opposition with Ntamack and Jalibert. You can see the way Jamie Osborne is lined up here as well. We've got Frawley over there, top right of the screen. Osborne just out of your screen to the right here, just forcing the Japan defence to think.
Yeah, it's called, the French talk about it as the another penalty here for Ireland. It's that movement general. Don't overthink it, don't overplan it, just play.
Scrum penalty. Eddie Jones was making 1 or 2 wicked remarks about the scrum for this contest earlier in the week, when he said he fancies that Japan may get the upper hand in the second half. I think that was a rather barbed comment that was intended for the 2 Connacht debutants that we might see.
Well, this is the beauty of Eddie Jones. What he didn't tell you was he was going to lull them into a false sense of security by giving away multiple penalties. in the first half, and then target the scrum in the second half.
Your irony is on top form tonight, Gordon. That went forward off the hands of Casey.
And another error at line out. And again, this isn't from Japan or Japanese pressure. This is, running drills. These are the top players in Ireland. That is not acceptable at this level to be in the opening few minutes not able to get that away. There's a bit of pressure from Derns, but really,
the opposition are there to make life difficult for you, but is this, at this level, one of the controllables going through your line-out drills?
I think absolutely. When you talk about an attacking platform, it's so intrinsic to how Ireland play the game. When you look at Stu McCluskey, the best opportunity to get him into the game is off of that. And another error at line out. And again, this isn't from Japan or Japanese pressure. This is, running drills. These are the top players in Ireland. That is not acceptable at this level to be in the opening few minutes not able to get that away. There's a bit of pressure from Derns, but really,
the opposition are there to make life difficult for you, but is this, at this level, one of the controllables going through your line-out drills?
I think absolutely. When you talk about an attacking platform, it's so intrinsic to how Ireland play the game. When you look at Stu McCluskey, the best opportunity to get him into the game is off of a line-out. Get your carry, to get over the gain line, get quick ball. And to not be able to get that connection between James Ryan and Craig Casey it's disappointing.
14 minutes gone, 7 points apiece.
Just go inside. Crouch.
France moving to the top of the northern pool.
Set.
With their win against Australia, they've got 7 points. Ireland with 5 last week from their win against the Wallabies. So given that the All Blacks are coming up next week, where France picked up a couple of points in defeat, 2 bonus points, Ireland know how crucial it is to get 5 here and then get something out of next week.
Ireland here.
There's Andy Farrell. Andy, not always the easiest interview, but I think he made a point to me a bit earlier. He's a good deal more direct and articulate when he's with the squad, but he's sometimes in those firing squad type experiences with pre-match and post-match interviews.
Yeah, I think there's definitely Matt Williams used to call it Agenda A and Agenda B. I think he is a person in the camera when he has to do the media, and I think that's an important word. He has to do those pieces. But when he's with the players, I think it's everybody. We talk about the Lions that were here last year. We talk about the Irish squad. Everybody who's played under him, they all talk about his ability to connect with the person behind the player, and it's a very, very unique skill.
Yes, he's certainly got an aura about him, hasn't he, Andy Farrell? Carry forward there from Gunter. He was one of the try scorers last week. On here to Oweda on the wing. He's surrounded by green jerseys. It's Henshaw who makes the tackle. Robbie Henshaw back in green for the first time in a while. The carry that time from Cornelson. There is Ito. There goes Warner Derns, just bending his back. Now the turn of Ireland to go through their defensive drills and patterns. Ito, there's Riley. Dylan Riley, man born in Durban in South Africa, but learned his rugby in Australia before making the move 7 or 8 years ago to Japan. There's a penalty advantage to Japan, so forcing that.
Yeah, it's hard for Stu McCluskey because where he is you know, you can almost feel like he's going to push through and could nearly get the ball. Just the big man standing up there, but you just simply can't play the nines anymore. So just an unfortunate incident for Stu McCluskey more than anything else. It'll be a reminder to him that he can't grabs, because the rules have changed now. We have to protect the number 9. So if they lift the ball while they're in the process of passing, you can't really do much to them. So it's disappointing because the Irish defence looked like it wasn't being overly stressed there, and maybe another couple of phases they might have been able to get a turnover.
So Takuro Matsunaga, try scorer last week, picked up 17 of Japan's points in their 27-10 defeat of Italy. Just has that little quirk to his kicking style, the pause after the first step. It works very effectively. Japan move back into the lead. Let's go to the studio, shall we? We've got our own Ireland captain there, Rory Best. Rory, we had problems with the line out last week. They don't appear to be ironed out, do they?
Yeah, look, I think they'll be very frustrated, because off the back of last week, there's a little bit of lack of confidence maybe, so you've got to get your delivery nailed on. To lose one of those lineouts from poor delivery was disappointing, but they've now got to make sure that when they're changing, if they're going in for a spread, change it to pod, they change a bit quicker, keep changing that picture in Japan, and make them make a few decisions off the back foot. I think the slower Ireland go, the more Japan can read it and the more pressure Ireland put on themselves.
Thanks, Rory. I'll tell you what, we got Stuart Lancaster in charge at Connacht, former England coach, of course. Rory Best, how many caps was it in for Ireland? Captain when those two fellas talk, I listen. I also listen to Ugo as well. Here's Casey. On there too, McCluskey. McCluskey an ever present during the Six Nations. With the soft hands on there to Tom O'Toole. The inside ball to Ryan. There goes Jansen, settling into his international career. Here's Jamie Osborne. Once again, Ireland rebuilding patiently. Really demonstrated as much as anything last week, just the mental strength that they needed to get past the Wallabies when so many of the things you often take for granted weren't going right for them. Did enough in the end to get across the line. There goes McCluskey trying to get those knees pumping. There goes Jimmy O'Brien getting through 2 tackles. Eventually it's Dearns who takes him down. That was Conan. Casey with a change of direction. Dearns' tackle count really is getting high, and looking a little stretched again over on that far flank.
Big read from Tyler Main there, coming in on the wing just to get Jimmy O'Brien as man on ball, and kind of just took a little bit of the air out of the attack. What Ireland need to be doing, they need to be patient here. Japan are doing their best not to commit numbers into the breakdown. Ireland just have to keep composed and get them to continue, make them bring players into the breakdown.
Here goes McCluskey. Timoney on the scene once more. Here's Casey. On there to Ryan. Dearns holding him up and driving him back. There is an advantage being played. Conan. Can they finish this, Ireland? And Tom O'Toole does just that.
And it's a well-worked try from Ireland. 2 words: composure and patience. And as a great example of that there, Kieran Frawley probably had a little shake of the head, because on one of the previous carries, you can see him out the back there as Tom O'Toole just rolls over. He was screaming for the ball, and Craig Casey couldn't get him. I think they wanted to pass that in, but this is just an area of the Irish game that they're so efficient at when they get into that. And it's even the small little plays here. You can see Jansen out of the corner of your eyes. I know he doesn't look like he's doing much, but he draws eyes, he draws shoulders to him, and that opens it up just ever so slightly for Tom O'Toole.
Ooh, that was a slightly careless miss from Kieran Frawley. But Tom O'Toole, what an asset he is to Ireland. Bear in mind, when he's at Ulster, he plays on the tight head side. This is 4th consecutive start at loose-headed when you got the likes of Andrew Porter absent, Jeremy Lockman, who was concussed last week. You need players like Tom O'Toole getting his 2nd start, and I think you can reasonably expect Tom O'Toole to be doing exactly the same at Eden Park next weekend.
Frustrated kick at the tee there from Kieran Frawley. You want someone to be, the guy hasn't started a game at out half this season. I think the expectation, you just still hope as a player he's not putting himself under too much pressure and expectation. Still got 80 minutes to go.
That was brilliantly taken by Riley, who's caught one on the forehead, I think. Carried forward there by Takauchi. Riley just getting back to his feet. There's Shimakawa. And Ireland claiming the penalty at the breakdown.
Jack Conan in there, just a function of the way Japan play. So when they play with that pace, they play that movement, and the wide passes from Ito there, it does leave players isolated. If you've done your job as a defensive line inside and you've made Japan over-resource at a breakdown, so there's just that split-second gap there for Jack Conan to get in, and then Tom O'Toole supports him. So that's a really well-worked turnover from Ireland.
Well, the body positions, they're absolutely textbook. That was only going one way.
Second back into 50.
So often it's about demonstrating to the referee that in that case you deserve the penalty. And well, if it's not going straight over the top, it's not going straight.
Yeah, I suppose one thing goes right, another thing goes wrong. So Rory's point was very valid. He's saying when you need to change the picture. So one of the simplest things you can do to get your line out is you drop the numbers. You go down to a 4-man, 5-man. So Ireland in there with a 4-man line out. And if Japan hadn't contested there wouldn't have been a problem, because it's only a crooked now if the opposition contests. And I'd say they just threw Derns up there when they saw it going a little bit wide. But Ronan Kelleher, you expect more from a 2-times Lions tourist with that type of a throw.
There is Ito with Hirose standing outside him. Hirose, whose midfield break last week in Japan, created the 2nd Japan try.
I'd say Dylan Riley is probably going to want to have, and he's a player, everybody will remember him from the big wins they've had over the last kind of decade. He's been an ever-present, a lovely arcing outside, a real 13, a real outside arcing run, likes to step off the outside foot, and has a brilliant offloading game. So again, as I said earlier, this attacking scrum, it just condenses players in, creates space on the field. And could this be an opportunity to get him the ball?
Saito feeding Ito. There is that man Riley. Matsunaga, the fullback, is there. Main outside, just slightly overran his fullback. Ito. Ball being presented there by Hockings. Saito with a little chip over the top. Ball sits up nicely for Jimmy O'Brien. Osborne. And that's when it's handy, when you've got a fullback with a good left peg.
Yeah, and good play from both teams. Like, you look at that, it's just a simple missed pass out to Dylan Riley, 2 quick passes, and they get 15-20 meters up the field. Good play, and then good vision from Saito to see the space in behind. He probably wanted that end over end to keep rolling. Jimmy O'Brien, good place. And Japan builds territory in possession. So in this kind of just at the end of the first quarter, you don't want the game to be slipping away from you. You want to play possession, you want to play territory, and Japan doing that very nicely now.
Three more big games to come. Later today, Fiji, England. It's a home game for Fiji, but it's overlooking the Mersey at the Hill Dickinson. England simply do need a win, or certainly Steve Borthwick does. Then it's the world champions, South Africa, in their capital, Loftus Versfeld in Pretoria, to take on the Scots. The Scots outstanding last week in Argentina. That's at 4:20. catch there from Knelson. Down to Saito. Here's
Advantage,
Ito.
offside, back.
Good Ireland have come
12.
offside.
We
They
have
got that little
9.
advantage tucked in their back pocket. Can they create something?
It's good tackle over there. Good tackle, offside from number 12.
No surprise who he's talking about there. The blue scrum cap, the world's most annoying,
Offside from the line
annoyingly
out, number
brilliant
12 win. Offside from the line out.
turnover specialist in Tyke Byrne. But Ireland offside at the line out, and a very, very smart play, and maybe something that Ireland can take a leaf out of for their lineouts. It's not about always winning the perfect possession. It is sometimes just about winning it. So straight up at 2, they come down and then popping it out. It's possibly the slowest delivery you can get, but they still manage to get over the game line. So it is maybe not about working harder, but working a little bit smarter for Ireland off the line out and taking a look at, say, what Japan have done there.
Japan with a real test match mentality here. Take the points when they're on offer. Matsunaga retains his 100% record in this inaugural Nations Championship. Japan back in front. Here's Hawkins, 6'10".
They've got their own. They've got their very own Devon Toner.
Stop, fight.
Devon Toner, if perhaps you're not a regular watcher of rugby, Devon Toner, the Leinsterman Ireland international. Was he 6'10"? Was he maybe a little bit more?
Yeah, there was rumour that he got an allowance from the Irish government because he was so tall, because he couldn't buy regular clothes.
The rumour was that a lot of you Ireland rugby players got allowances from the Irish government. We'll leave that for another day. But Devon Toner, super player, wasn't he, during
it's great.
the great heyday of Leinster rugby.
Just, you know, you could almost tell the opposition here we're going to throw it to him. It didn't really matter because he was so tall.
Frawley's charged down. Frawley, I should say. Japan very quickly through. There's Saito, back to Ito. See what he's looking for. And pretty much finding it almost, I suppose. Osborne doing the pragmatic thing.
And that's the kicking style I was saying about by the young Italian, Japanese 10. Very, very low trajectory of the ball. And it's almost like the sand wedge there, the pitching wedge. He just had the back spin on it. Looking for that corner, looking to get the roll the ball in, and just game of inches, a couple of inches to the left, and he gets the perfect kick.
Yeah, the way that sat down, it could have been Scotty Scheffler at Royal Birkdale next week. Having said that, Scotty Scheffler missed his first cut in years, didn't he, last night at the Scottish Open?
And Rory McIlroy driving.
Of course, I mean, that would have been perhaps the most suitable metaphor, if you like, for me to use, given his nationality. And Rory, after all, is flying high the last time I saw.
Yeah, I think Shane Lowry's reaction to that was probably the highlight of the day yesterday.
Shane Lowry himself, like McIlroy and Scheffler, are the former or current Open champions. Anyway, that's golf. Let's talk about the rugby. So, little more than 11 minutes to go in this first half. Ireland pretty good value for their lead. They've taken every opportunity coming their way. There's their battering ram, Gunter, big carrier in the back row. Well grabbed there by Riley, just sensing there might have been a little chink of light, which was closed down immediately by Timoney. Ito, here's Hirose, on to Main. Japan certainly asking questions, but that's a fantastic turnover from Jack Conan on the floor.
And just look at Tyke Byrne getting in there at first receiver. And what's really lovely about Tyke Byrne, before he got that ball, he just had a quick scan out to look to see was there something on, and then really happy, gets in the first receiver and almost forces that connectivity within the team.
Here's Casey, the Munster 9. No Jack Crowley on this tour, he's among the injured.
Got it, agree. You are moving towards him, okay? Obstruction.
Well, that's the escort runner stuff.
Number 9.
Used to be able to do something same or similar
On the chaser.
a year or so ago, but no longer. Obstruction called.
Yeah, and I think this is a good example of how, I mean, a difference between the two teams in the 30 minutes. Ireland have had to do very, very little for almost 60, 70 metres of territory. Where Japan have had to work to get into the Irish 22. They get a penalty, they get over it. Ireland are now 2 quick penalties, 2 quick passes, and they've gotten up.
Well, Ireland returning possession, albeit a little scrappily. Their conversion rate in possession in the Japan 22 has been good so far. There's Conan presenting it onto Casey. Jansen, the new cap with the carry. Here's McCluskey.
That's just lovely, isn't it? All eyes are in on the forwards, and they just pass out to McCluskey. And the way he just rides a tackle and takes 2 more and gets that couple of metres over the gain line, it's lovely to watch.
Rossi is down once more. He's had a bit of treatment already in the last few minutes. Oh, and that was a poor pass to Frawley, and maybe a chance, but Robbie Henshaw it was falling on it and securing what could have evolved into an opportunity for Japan. So Ireland have to start all over again. Dearns and Cornelson holding up Ireland that time. I think that's Hirose down getting some treatment, but the referee has decided that there's a possibly dangerous situation here. May well be Hirose. He was down a couple of moments ago.
I think it was the same shoulder, and to be fair, I can empathise with him. A lot of people who've gone in to tackle Stu McCluskey have similar shoulder pains afterwards, but I think it's the same shoulder that he hurt earlier on. And just speaking of Stu McCluskey now, you'd love him to just stick a shoulder around Kieran Frawley and ask him to relax, and I think Kieran is in danger of moving into trying to force the territory. Couple of errors, couple of mistakes, and he's not really getting that fluidity into the game that he wants. And the frustration can come of that, because I've been that player where you want something out of this game, but maybe it's not giving you exactly. So you just want that senior player, someone like Stu McCluskey, pop an arm around him and just say, listen, relax, just play what's in front of you.
Well, I think it's reasonable to assume that Yohe Hirose won't be sleeping on his left side for a few days now. And he's been replaced by Tiernan Costley, man who was actually born in New Zealand.
Ben, you want me on this side or my side? Okay.
So Ireland will have to put it. Japan have beaten Ireland once in 12 meetings. Our man Rory in the studio won't reminding of it. It was in Shizuoka in the World Cup in a pool match.
Set.
That really one of the high watermarks in Japan rugby, along with South Africa at the 2015 World Cup. The pick-up from Jansen, he offloads to McCluskey, who tests the shoulder of the new man, Costley. Here's Conan. Inside there from Frawley. The Japanese defence almost shoulder to shoulder at the moment. The tackle that time from Takato Akabe. Here's Robbie Henshaw. McCluskey.
And it's only a small detail, but look at just that little double step from McCluskey before he's going into contact. It makes such a difference. We talked about France earlier, that French footwork as they're going into contact was absolutely fantastic. Nick Timoney, again, it makes a difference in these close quarter battles. Running into bodies, it's a hard way to do it.
Frawley there on to Henshaw. Frawley once more. That was Jimmy O'Brien. They're on the 22. Arm is out again from Andrea Piardi. Captain here, what do you do? Do you pop it into the corner, or is there something psychological about maybe just getting in front again?
I think these decisions have been made beforehand. I'd be very surprised if they take 3. I would say this is all but definitely going to the corner, because you look at how efficient they were last week. That said, the line-out has been a real worry. So I suppose if you're Japan now, what do? Do you stick or do you twist? Do we go to contest? Do we try and disrupt? Because we've had really good success at this up until recently.
Well, there are the Ireland lads not involved. Cian Prendergast there. Also Hugo Keenan, who was a revelation last week in Sydney, really was. Try scorer and a try saver, was one of the big moments against the Wallabies.
They all earned the moniker as food bills for this week, as they're not contributing anything to the matchday squad.
Well, the drive is moving forward. Casey on to Henshaw. Henshaw sensing the line, reaches out and scores. What a return to Test rugby for Robbie Henshaw. His 71st Test match start, his 85th cap, the British and Irish line, and he's picked up the 3rd Ireland try.
Sometimes we probably forget how big Robbie Henshaw is. You know, he's a big man. He steps Dylan Riley on the inside, and that you look at Dylan Riley and Crossley, they haven't really got that 12-13 defensive shape right, and Robbie Henshaw takes full advantage of it. Poor defence, but good footwork and good power from Robbie.
Well, after the last one, there may well be a little sigh of relief from Kieran Frawley. Ireland up to 19.
Yeah, but you look at how, I don't want to say easy, but how efficient Ireland are when they're getting their tries, they're getting their points. Japan are having to work a lot harder for that now. Still only 6 points in the game, so still a lot of rugby to be played. But it is a good sign from Ireland how well they're being able to get scores on the board. But Japan will want to get something in this next 5 minutes to keep the game. And Riley again.
Brilliant from Riley. Second straight time reaching high there, way above his head to claim that. Ronan Keller has to get himself out of there. Here's Warner Dearns. Dearns has scored the first try last week against Italy. There's Shimakawa. Saito. Dearns out there from Ito, on to Main out there on the left wing. Here's Dearns again.
And Martin, you talked about the quality of the line speed from Japan. The line speed from Ireland's been very good, but what's been really, really impressive is their first up tackles and their initial contact has been really, really good. It's really frustrating the Japanese attack because they can't get that super quick ball over the game line.
Ito with that aerial ball, just testing Jamie Osborne. Oh, and Jacob Stockdale. Bit of fortune, bit of good judgment from the Ulsterman. Just covering round the back there of his fullback. Look at the hit there, that was impressive. That was Gunter. Really physical back row forward for the Japanese team. Has made a huge impact since his introduction into Test rugby. This is very much a new generation of Japan players. Not too many here who were involved in the World Cup in France when they won a couple out of 4 of their pool matches. You can see Eddie Jones's fingerprints all over this. The work rate off the ball, just as this line out was going in, how quickly the Japanese players were moving into position while the Irish players were still walking. Here's Gunter with a carry once more. On to Riley. Oh, and Ito was looping around, but a little bit of a miscommunication. Saito, they've got to start again here.
Again, another really quality tackle from O'Toole and getting Janssen in there, and it just takes a little bit of the flavour out of the Japanese attack.
Here's Cornelson. On to the hooker, Harada. Saito. Once again, that cross kick, and that time just a little bit too much on it from the young fly half.
Yeah, and I think this is one of those things, in the same way Andy Farrell is going to enjoy, and Stewart will be enjoying it, Kieran Froy is getting a taste of 10 at this level again. Eddie Jones is really happy that the young out half is getting a taste of this, but that is the kind of kick you might get away with at club level. That's a low percentage kick. Jacob Stockdale's not out of position. He's well able to cover in top of it in his there. You have to maybe go to build a kick. So maybe one or two phases in field, and then maybe contestable in the middle of the field. But that type of kick there, it's a learning curve for young players.
Okay, that's the right mark.
Well, the likes of Kirtley Aronson and Cheslin Colby have demonstrated that you can sometimes compensate for the lack of inches out in the fringes. But bear in mind here, Ireland have got Jamie Osborne, 6'4", Stockdale similar in the backfield. It's something of an uneven contest. Here perhaps is another. Nick Timoney, Jansen alongside it, and Jansen pins his ears back. That's a try-saving tackle. But Ireland are not done yet. Well, Henshaw being met there by Main, and in the end, the opportunity has gone begging.
Time off.
Well, the referee's looking to check something here with the South African official, Morne Pereira, over on the far side.
Yeah.
Okay, we need to go upstairs. Matteo, we're coming upstairs. We have a potential deliberate knock-on by Japan. We need to double look.
Okay, Andrea, you are checking a potential deliberate knock-on by Japan.
Yeah.
Okay.
Those were the words of Matteo Liferini, the television match official.
I think he's a very lucky man.
Well, it's Tyra Main, the try scorer for Japan.
He didn't touch the ball, number 11.
No, he hasn't touched the ball at all. You can see Robbie Henshaw, his hand is there. How close is that?
Yeah, he missed it, and then we have a knock-on by Ireland over there. So we go there, we play a scrum for Japan. No, they even knock-on by Ireland.
Yeah, I think it's obviously worth checking. I suppose for what I'm looking at from that is the inability to convert that line break and the composure needed to find the right combination of passes there.
It was that last pass, wasn't it?
Well,
It's a good question.
Craig Casey wasn't sure who he was passing to. Jamie Osborne's inside. He hasn't taken ownership. It was a brilliant play here. You've got the interplay. Stu McCluskey has just done everything perfectly. Timoney, again, he's there. He's given the pass. He's supporting now, so he's guaranteeing this ruck. Somebody has to. Why is Kieran Frawley going to that ruck? You don't need to be there. Somebody has to stamp authority on that, and nobody has. And as a result, you end up with a knock-on and the ball into it. So it's good effort from Japan to get back, and from Tyler.
Is it a communication thing?
It's communication is one thing. Geordie Murphy always talks about it. The micro chat. Somebody has to take responsibility there, and nobody did. And that was glaring. That was glaring there for me.
Fantastic try-saving tackle from Tiernan Costley to bring down Sean Jansen, who must have felt that his debut was going to be rewarded with a try.
There's nothing worse as a player when you think you can see the white, you can see the white line, and you get hauled down from behind.
Well, Ireland have their noses in front, but Japan have been good value so far. The thoughts of Rory Best and Stuart Lancaster with Hugo Monnier are next, but at half-time in Newcastle, New South Wales. In Newcastle, New South Wales, they don't sing about fog on the Tyne in this part of the world. For Japan, there's a bit of rehearsal about it. This is where they play their first game in the World Cup on October the 3rd next year when they take on Samoa. As for Ireland, well, it's not on their radar for the World Cup. What is on their radar, though, 40 minutes here, Gordon, where they will look to go up and through the gears.
Yeah, and actually, I got a message at half-time there for some very young, enthusiastic Irish rugby supporters, Tig and Jack from Beaconsfield Rugby Club, who are echoing,
I know it well.
Are echoing Stuart's optimism for Ireland in the second half. So hopefully that comes to play as well.
Sean Jansen, who had what would have been more than a few hopes for a few seconds that he was going to cross for a try on his debut towards the end of that first half, until Tiernan Costley came in with a magnificent tackle. There's Fraud onto Osborne, onto that favoured left foot. Ireland lead by 6 points. They're 3 parts of the way to the try bonus point. And the way this northern pool is shaping, and you can see Japan have made that alteration at half-time. Sam Green is on. He's a fly half by inclination. This is the first ever Nations Championship. If you are new to it and maybe don't quite understand how it works, it's 12 teams, the 4 home countries, France and Italy as well, the 3 World Cup winners from the Southern Hemisphere, South Africa, Australia, New Zealand, Argentina, Japan and Fiji. They make up the dozen. This month it's the 5 Southern Hemisphere sides plus Japan who have home advantage. In November the focus shifts onto Europe, and then we resolve everything with a big finals weekend at the Allianz Stadium, Twickenham, where the best from the north takes on the best from the south. Oh, that pass, well, forward out to Sam Green. Created some space for the new man, but then we now know why.
Yeah, so very uncharacteristic. One of the things we always assume from an Eddie Jones coach team is strong passing game, strong basic skills. So just drifted forward, but the space was there, and you could just see just the way they get those second wave of attacks and the running lines good to get the ball into the wider channels.
As you saw there, it's Dylan Riley who's been replaced. I think we work on the basis he is injured because he picked up 1 or 2 knocks, didn't he, in that first half. You can see there Neil Hatley in the red t-shirt, one of Eddie Jones' sidekicks. Those 2 old mates from their times travelling the world. I mentioned Gary Gold as well, who's very much a defence consultant. Well, penalty to Japan. Eddie Jones was saying during the week that he thought that maybe, just maybe, Japan can get the better.
He said it. They lulled him into a false sense of security in the first half, straight out the blocks. 42 minutes, penalty. Tom O'Toole with the bewildered look on his face. Me, ref, honestly.
Ryunosuke Ito, the fly half, firing that down into this bottom left-hand corner.
Yeah, I think it could have been an easy case for a reset there. I think the refs are very good about giving warnings, and they're saying Ireland didn't have the right balance going into that. You can see their legs were quite long, and they weren't able to hold their weight.
Thomas Clarkson, you can see at the front of that Ireland line, the match winner.
Can I talk to them? How many?
In Sydney, against the Wallabies.
5. Okay, you said 5. Okay.
Just checking the number. There's Harry Hawkins, who topped the tackle count in the first half with 14. Or Nelson. Straight over the top to Hawkins. You can see Green coming in. That was perhaps a rehearsed move, which didn't quite go to the plan that was intended, but it's Warner Dearns driving his way forward. It's now Japan's opportunity to gain parity. The little dummy, there's Hawkins, all 6'10" of him. Just carried on that little bit further. They're still keeping it tight.
It's a blue scrum cap lurking around. I think all the Japanese players were heightened when they saw Ty Byrne at the back of that ruck.
Yeah, okay.
And the arm is out from the referee, so there is a penalty coming. Saito, Dearns goes himself. Casey holding him up. Here's Saito once more, just sniping around the edges, and in the end it's Gunter who was coming in at speed, but he couldn't grab it.
Haven't really threatened, have they, on the tries. When they're getting into the 22, they haven't really looked to be able to unpick the Irish defence. And I think Stuart mentioned it at half-time, the Irish, what's been the one strong point from the first half with Ireland? The defence. Japan haven't. And this is a really big call. I'm actually really surprised about this. Going for the 7-pointer when 3 was on offer. This is a big call. Plenty of time in the game, but this is one of those moments you think a 7-pointer here could really add a bit of pressure into a stuttering Irish team.
Not only would it shift the scoreboard, it would do so much for Japanese confidence. It was Cornelsen who grabbed that. It's now Harada who's got it tucked underneath his arm. Reshaping them all. Once again, that Ireland defence doing a fine job.
Excellent defence from Ty Byrne. We get to see this again. You have to be very careful at the maul now, because when you come up the sides, there's been the change in the rule. You actually have to reset. Ty Byrne does excellently when he comes through the middle of the maul. It splits out, and he's just able. You can see him at the bottom of his bottom of the left-hand screen. You see that blue scrum cap. He does excellently to split that maul and to get the turnover.
Yeah. Whatever Ty Byrne's doing and wherever he's doing it, it's always easy to spot. You can pick him out with that blue headgear.
He's one of those players you love to play with, and you just hate to play against. In my time, it was Trevor Brennan. You're always glad he was on your team. Never when he was on you never wanted to be a player like him. You wanted to be playing against.
Coach!
Ty Byrne, Ireland's 113th captain in 151 years of Test match rugby. 72nd cap for the first time. He's worn the captain's armband, if you know what I mean. Chance to relieve the pressure now with the free kick.
Early push.
Quickly taken by Green. There goes the full-back, who loses it in the contact. On to Frawley, chance to spin it wide here. Here's Osborne. Well covered by Ito, the fly half in the backfield. Frawley pumps it high once more. Ben O'Keefe over on the far side. Which way is his arm going to go? Gives the line out to Ireland, which wasn't perhaps greeted with unanimous approval.
Yeah, it's a funny one there. Just Kieran Frawley when he has the ball in the backfield. And here we have some debutants.
Big moments.
Number 2 off.
Sam Ilo is on. His debut, the Connacht man. Alteration at hooker for Japan. Hayate Era comes on for Mamoru Harada.
Yeah, they're both scrum. Knock on into touch.
Stuart Lancaster will be sitting in studio, very, very content. Obviously, I think as a coach, you want to see players playing at the highest level. And it's a fantastic achievement from Connacht to have players represented in the matchday 23 today.
Yes, Ilo only had his first URC start at the very start of the season. So what bookends for a player's season. Debut in the URC at one end of it, first Ireland cap at the other.
But I think he's a player, it's really interesting because he's a natural athlete, but his scrummaging does an awful lot of the talking. And a good friend of mine, Peter Coyle, is a scrum nerd of the best. Of the best, and he really rates this guy as a scrummager.
Well, it's Eddie Jones who's been doing the talking about the scrum in the second half during the week.
Come here.
Another change being
Don't push
made.
too early.
Not bad when you
Don't step back. Okay, keep it there.
bring a man with that experience, the British and Irish Lions, 71st cap today for Bundyaki. Comes on for Stuart McCluskey. Let's hope Stuart McCluskey is
Don't be soft. Let's go.
is in perfect health, because he will be a vital cog next week against the All Blacks.
Yeah, and I think like this is Andy Farrell has enough confidence in the squad, and you know he's a coach that actually gives confidence to players. So we will be looking at in his head one eye on next week and going, I need to get Stuart McCluskey off here. I've got Bundyaki. This is not a wrapping cotton wool. I'm bringing quality on for quality.
And if you can't have trust in Bundyaki, you can't have trust in anyone, I would have thought. That was Henshaw. Here goes Aki. Aki cutting in field. Taking on Green. Casey onto Frawley. The inside ball there to Henshaw. They're up to the 22. Now, how clinical are Ireland going to be in this second half? There's Aki. Here's Osborne. Stockdale. Well, that didn't work as it should have done, but Kelleher's got some space. He's also got a lot of power and strength, and look at that. Taking two players and about 6 or 7 metres to get him down. Tight burn. Back there to Frawley. Byrne himself takes it on. Who's it going to be this time? Jack Conan. Half a metre to go for Ireland. Can they get the try bonus point with half an hour remaining in the match? It's still there for Ireland. Casey, Ryan, Aki wants to see the ball come out. And they've got it. And once again, Ireland have been ruthless. And Sean Jansen came so close in the first half. But now he has delivered. What a start to a Test match career.
The build-up, I think the set play, it was a lovely piece of play. You see Robbie Henshaw doing that. The running lines, all perfect. You could see Stockdale coming from the outside. Well, Stockdale probably wanted that ball from Bundyaki. But the pass from Robbie Henshaw, moving with the ball, it's lovely passing, letting you do the work. Running lines, everybody in the right place. Really nice play and composure. And ultimately, Jansen crashing over for a try on debut. Good day all round for him.
Well, I suspect Stuart Lancaster might reprimand me for this, but historically, I think Connacht have been perhaps the unfashionable province in Ireland rugby, but they're certainly putting their best foot forward tonight, aren't they? Debutantes, try scorers, and a lot of that comes, of course, from what was a very impressive end of season, particularly from Connacht.
Yeah, I think you want to enjoy the rugby you play, and Connacht play a very enjoyable style of rugby. I think that suits the players they have at their disposal, but it also gets the best out of them. I think Stuart is an excellent coach for finding a game plan that suits the players that they have, and it's a fair return for Connacht for the players that they have involved with Ireland at the moment.
So another new man coming on. It's going to be Mike Stolberg. And also on Michael Leach, the great man, a man who's, it's almost that face tells you that is Japanese rugby over the course of the last decade and a half. He was there at Brighton in 2015, again in 2019 when they beat Ireland and Scotland. And here he is, part of the rebirth, if you like. There is Leach. Now, how will Japan respond here?
Michael Leach is a very similar player to Tyke Byrne. He just adds that little, he thinks about the game very, very differently, and their engagements in the game are very different. They're just that kind of, that fabric, that little glue that keeps teams together. His passing, his catching, his carrying, all doing the right things at the right time.
There's Saito, who's just left Toulouse to return to play his club rugby in Japan. Twice a top 14 champion with Toulouse, wasn't involved in the recent final. And they beat Montpellier, but he was on the bench when they won a little more than a year ago against Bordeaux Bagla. There is Saito once more, on to Ito. That time it was Costa. That was Maine, the try scorer. Here's Ito once more. Good tackle coming in from Jimmy O'Brien on to Era, the replacement hooker. They need an impromptu scrum half. Warner Dearns throwing it on there to Michael Leach, who couldn't grab hold of it. That's Jack Connelson, famous rugby name, Jack Connelson. His father, Greg. Those who remember the Wallabies in the 70s and 80s. Greg Connelson once scored 4 tries for the Wallabies in a test match at Eden Park. I suspect no one has come close to doing that since. In a win for the Wallabies against the All Blacks. Greg Connelson, great back row forward. I'm just trying to think what were the names of the two fellas he used to... Tony Shaw and Mark Lone. It was a great Wallabies back row back in the day. And yeah, Greg Connelson, big hair, big beard, always looked like he just stepped off the stage at a production of Jesus Christ Superstar and straight into a gold jersey. One of the great names. And that's his son out there playing for Japan.
Great to see. Family heritage and all that. I think the crowd have definitely enjoyed themselves this evening. And it has been a little bit stop-start, but I think the some of the tries, the pace, the tempo has been an enjoyable game, I'd say, for most people there.
I must tell you, it was 4 tries for Greg Connelson, but you know how much ground he covered to score those 4 tries? It was about 1.5 meters.
Yeah.
So individually, none were collector's items, but you know what I mean. Penalty to Japan. Well, I say, perhaps Eddie is being prophetic.
Oh, he'll be unbearable if that's the case.
And he's back with us tonight after serving that suspension.
Yeah, he enjoyed that. He enjoyed that. He's got a social media manager now getting on to getting the post-match post ready.
It's Eddie's 225th Test match tonight, and only copped a lot when he was in charge of England, but 81 matches in charge, 74% success rate. That's almost up, really. With Andy Farrell's with Ireland, he's up to 78. It was his 50th win for Andy Farrell last week. Tom O'Toole getting a rest. Another Connachtman. Billy Bowen, the youngster, is on to make his debut. Well, Warner Dearns signalling something there to the referee, and the queries answered in the affirmative for the Japan captain. There were Irish hands on the line-out jumper there.
Billy Bowen's dad, he played with him in Lansdowne at the very, very start of my career. There you go. We're all tangentially taking pride in the fact that one of our teammates, his son, has just got capped for Ireland.
Knock on out, in fact, penalty advantage, he indicating. Japan might not need it. Tyke Byrne making a nuisance of himself once more. Saito, surely this time can they convert it? It's out to the fullback, and Green, can he get in the corner? No, he can't. Casey, James Ryan, combined effort.
was just for a knock-on advantage, clearly over.
Well, it was a knock-on advantage rather than a penalty advantage, as I first thought.
It was just a knock-on advantage over. Yeah. Shoulder.
Yeah, unfortunately, the ball in the air just took a little bit of time and brought the game back into it. And, Craig Casey might take great enjoyment for that tackle, but I think it was the 130-kilo lock that came in just over the top of him that helped finish off that tackle.
Ireland, come closer, please. Okay, 4. I'll give you the time, okay? Time's still off in any case. They said 4. 3? You said 4, guys. Stay there.
So Ireland with the opportunity to clear their lines.
And they fluffed their lines.
Clearing off straight.
Well, over the course of 2 weekends, it's proving a significant Achilles heel, isn't it, for Andy Farrell and Ireland?
Yeah, I think you get a certain amount of sympathy in the first game, and I think patience wear thin in the second game, and that can be a very, very costly platform to lose, because it's not as if the scrum is going particularly well either. So it's a big scrum for Bowen to be coming into, and Sam Hilo, so they will really want to just try and find a foothold in this game, but on the set piece. And then we flipped to Japan, and Japan got a prime real estate attacking opportunity.
Wasn't out, that's why he reset. Let's go. Here we go.
Probably reasonable to say it's the biggest scrum of Billy Bowen's life.
Okay.
There's a life that's only run for 20 years. It has been a meteoric rise for the youngster. And he made his debut for Connacht in December. His first start was in January. It's a very swift transition from Galway in the All-Ireland League to playing for Ireland in Test Rugby.
We've seen it before. I think a Warren Gatlinism. If you're good enough, you're old enough. We saw Conor Murray fast-tracked into the Irish team.
Use the ball, stay back.
It's there for Saito to use. Costly drives it forward. Saito again goes himself. He's just held up. Now how clinical are they? A try here would transform this contest. Warner Dearns bends his back, has a go himself. The defence was waiting for him. Look at Kelleher, like a sprinter in the starting blocks. Oh, they've got again, and this time they have got there. And we have a test match.
That's great ambition from Japan, but you have to wonder, how did we end up here? We ended up here from a brilliant passage of defence and attack. So a great attack from Japan, great defence from Ireland, and a very much controllable, and they mess up the lineout. And then Japan are no mugs. They take advantage of it. That's a well-worked try. We know the way. When you get into 5 meter, when you get 5 meters from the try line, it is very, very hard to defend those. Japan were very composed, very patient.
So Matsunaga to make it work 7. And to bring Japan within a converted try of the lead. And we've still got quarter of the match to go. Hayate-Era, the Kubota Spear, getting that second Japanese try.
And that's a great shot from the cameraman there of how hard it is to defend those tries, because as a defender you have to be, your hands have to be behind the try line. Your body height, you're never going to be able to get as low as the attacker that's literally just burrowing. They just need to win a couple of inches underneath you and they'll get over for the try.
Mike Stolberg rising high to gather that for Japan. Now they must go through the next element of the exit plan. to get things absolutely right here for Japan. They will feel they've regained a toehold on the contest. We'll have an opportunity to chat now with the Connacht coach, Stuart Lancaster. First of all, Stuart, I guess you must be proud of the fact you've got these Connacht debutants whose form with you is being rewarded here. But let's also talk about what you were asking for at half-time. Ireland playing to space.
Yeah, it was obviously the try was on the back of that. So we had the scrum in Japan's half, and the idea of playing to space and then creating moving parts in the Japanese defensive system was perfectly executed. They went all the way down, multi-phase, and ended up with the try. So yeah, that's an example of what I was saying. Obviously, ideally, you're doing it from scrum and line-out, and obviously the line-out is the area that's letting them down at the moment. If they can fix that, then I still believe they can take this game away from Japan. But obviously now, with the changes coming in and Japan just scoring, it's game on for sure.
And Stuart, if you had an opportunity to whisper a few words in the ears of Billy Byrne and Sam Illo, what would they be?
It'd be ripping. I feel like I'm saying like a proud dad, to be honest, but it'd be ripping, and you know they're brilliant lads, and I fully trust them to play well in this last 20 minutes. But it's going to be pivotal for sure.
Thanks, Stuart. Big old 20 minutes for all involved. And their beaming smile, as he might do. Debut and a try for Sean Jansen. He's been replaced. Cormac Isachukwu is among those who've come on. Cormac Isachukwu plays his rugby for Ulster, and versatile player, operates effectively not just in the second row but also at 6. Frawley, good positioning from him, knocks that off the outside of his boot. That was cultured, quickly taken by Japan. They will sense here there's a real chance to record what would be just a 9th victory against one of the Six Nations countries. Long way to go though before they get to that. Knock-on advantage being played, and Andre Apiardi has blown his whistle.
You see number 20 out of the sneaking on there as well. I think Bryn Ward getting his debut as well. Just sneaking on for Jack Conan.
He's quite a player, isn't he? He's made a real impact.
He reminds me of a young Sean O'Brien. Just that type of player who likes to grab the ball, the game, by the scruff of the neck. Raw power, and just okay, he just strikes me as a kid who just enjoys the way he plays, and plays up in Ulster, a very free, very flowing game as well.
Yeah, he's a dynamic, powerful ball carrier at number 8. There he is, and perhaps we'll be hoping that his international career develops and gives him more opportunities than another former Ulster number 8, Roger Wilson, who was perhaps one of the outstanding Ulster number 8s who, in terms of Test rugby, never quite got the opportunities he would have liked. But early chance here for Bryn Ward to show us on the Test stage what he can do. Penalty to Japan. I tell you what, they're right up for this.
I think there's the old bull and the young bull there. Bryn Ward gets in, he beats the first man, but oddly enough, by beating the first man, he gets isolated, and you can just see the little gap there between him and the nearest player. Harry Byrne just in the yard too late, and you get the turnover. So that enthusiasm from young players can be infectious, it can be contagious, but it has to be controlled. The players have to read body language, they have to respond, but they just have to get there quick.
Look at that penalty count as well. 8-4. Ireland having committed twice as many as Japan. So here's the most recent try scored at Herra. Over the top to Cornelson. There's Saito. Big hit. Look at that from Robbie Henshaw, doing what he does best.
Lovely tackle from Robbie as well, and it just shows, you know, that's a bigger man that he's after hitting. Just shows by tackle technique. and a good phase from Ireland there as well. So you get a good impact tackle from Robbie Henshaw. It slows down the breakdown. The next phase, the Irish defence is set his attack and gets up and puts pressure on the Japanese, forces an error.
Japanese hands just letting themselves down. There's Warner Dearns. That hurricane side in Super Rugby. That clinical performance in the Super Rugby final 3 weeks ago when they beat the Chiefs by 60 points to 5. That in the grand final there. Regarded widely as perhaps the most emphatic performance we've ever seen in a Super Rugby final. Warner Dearns, a major part of that hurricane side. That's how highly he is regarded. That is Tynan Costley, who's try-saving tackle could yet prove so crucial for Japan here. Just there, working the short side. Osborne with the kick. Well anticipated. Here's the fullback, Matsunaga. Inside the last quarter of an hour.
Nice little play, wasn't it? You could just see Craig Casey just saying, yeah, we can get a 2-on. We get a flat scrum here. We get a steady scrum. We've got a 2-on-1 down the short side. Love to see that. Just players going, yeah, it doesn't matter where we are in the field. I'll take that.
Crawley not getting to that. Leach securing it. Chance to go wide here for Japan. Here's Green. Got help outside from Matsunaga. Good covering from Henshaw. That is the halfway line.
You see, I think it was a Bundyaki counter up there, forcing a little knock-on the ground. But you can see the ambition from Japan there as they're going out. But look at all the passes just slightly on the inside shoulder for the Japanese players. And what that means then is they all have to break stride to catch that ball. So rather than being able to catch the ball in full flow, and then you're in control of the attack. When you have to check like that, the defence then can they're almost in control of the defence.
Tom Stewart, you can see there, another Ulsterman on the pitch. Replacement hooker. 13 minutes to go in Newcastle, New South Wales. We're at the McDonald Jones Stadium.
Crouch! Bind! Set! Stepping around.
Stepping around is what Andrea Piardi said.
Stepping around on my side. Push straight
And on
both sides.
the tight head side of the front row. So Billy Bowen will take some credit for that. You can see Harry Byrne is on as well, having come off the bench for Ireland. Byrne playing for Ireland for just the first time in a couple of years.
Since his match-winning kick against Australia, I think.
Look at the turf there, coming up like a cheap carpet. Here's Stewart. Goes short, back to Stewart again. Casey, the Munsterman and the Ulsterman in tandem, but it didn't go 5.
I'm not sure. Feels like a Faulty Towers script at this stage. Everything they're trying seems to be coming undone at line-out. Just not. They're trying to change it, which you have to admire and you have to respect, but it just really isn't firing for them, and you just wonder, is the confidence gone?
There's never a dull moment when Eddie Jones is around, but do you sense that both in terms of what he brings technically to coaching and frankly what he brings as a personality is more suited for working with a team like Japan than it is one of the traditional big guns?
Listen, I think you're with a coach like him, you're proven right maybe after the fact. He's undoubtedly got a brilliant rugby brain. and sometimes his way of doing things works with some people and not with others. And a great steal from Jimmy O'Brien there, as long as he stays in field.
He did well to keep the ball alive as well. That was well gathered and taken forward by Byrne. Here's Casey. Carry there for Illo, who's driven back. Cormac is a Chukwu this time. Cornelson holding him up. Driven forward that time by Bryn Ward. James Ryan's got something to say to Andrea Piardi.
Advantage offside.
Japan have come offside. There's Illo. Well, this surely is a time to take the points, isn't it?
I think so.
Look at the scoreline. 6 points the difference.
Yeah, the philosophy with Ireland has always been to go for the corner. You can see Ty Byrne see come in. Yeah, he's told them put the ball down and kick it between the posts. And it looks like Harry Byrne is going to be given the responsibility rather than Kieran Frawley. I think that passage was a good example of the importance of footwork into contact, and that's something that's probably, you know, for these debutants or these young players, Samilo, Bryn Ward coming into it, you need to do what you do at club level. You need to do it better and faster at this level, but footwork into contact, that's a prerequisite.
Crucial shot this for Harry Byrne. And he delivers for Ireland.
It's a good nudge. He'll be happy with it. More importantly, I'd say Andy Farrell's going to be happy with it. Gives, as you said, a two-score game. Not breathing room. You wouldn't say it's beyond Japan. It's definitely in the last 15 minutes or so. You'd say Japan look a little bit more comfortable.
That's not gone 10. So indiscipline from Japan, compounded by an unforced error.
Another shot at the bragging rights at scrum time now as well for Billy and Samilo.
I thought like both of you were going in this direction instead of pushing side. Okay.
Andrea Piardi, one of the best referees in the world these days. He's become a regular in the URC final. So certainly the Leinster players here know him very well indeed, as well as being a regular now, both in the Six Nations and on the international circuit.
Coach!
He was also the referee when Ireland beat England
Set.
just a couple of months ago in the Six Nations, famous Irish win, as any is at home of English rugby. There's Byrne, on to Frawley, he's got Osborne outside if he needs him. Good covering tackle. There's Doak, on to his Ulster mate Ward. Doak once more, oh, and then it's spilled, but the referee has blown his whistle. There's going to be a warning here.
Just make sure they're coming back on side, okay? Yeah. There's a couple of advantages for that. Yeah. A couple of penalties as well. Yeah. Just a message, quick one. Get back on side.
Nice little play, wasn't it? Again, you have the benefit of that, the platform. Go on, Harry.
Apologies.
No.
My bad.
Mr. Byrne.
But yeah, just a little tempo into it, and you can just see the value of the ball carrier when they carry straight and actually engage a defender, and then the timing of a pass, the timing of a run, and you release Harry Byrne and Kieran Frawley down the short side.
23.
So Atsuki Kamamura.
Okay, 9.
Waiting to come on. It's a change at scrum half.
Yeah, he's coming off on this side.
Japan have to be careful how they manage their human resources. They've got France next week at the National Stadium in Tokyo. So Saito, the vastly experienced scrum half, leaves us.
Ireland.
So a little more than 7 minutes remain.
Yeah, stay there, stay there, stay there.
Tom Stewart, Tyburn at the front. Once again, it's slightly untidy ball for Ireland. Here's Nathan Doak. Carry forward that time from Billy Bowen. Doak looking to work the short side for a moment before feeding Samuel O. Warner Dearns hangs on. Dearns has got to get himself away from that area. There's Izuchukwu, who just about kept hold of that. Well, they've turned it, I think, of Japan. Izuchukwu dispossessed. Early touch for Kamamura. And Matsunaga looks one way, goes the other, and finds a good touch to release the pressure valve.
And again, just that we've seen a lot today is just the players, the ball carriers getting isolated. And like that responsibility firmly relies on the players around it, that they're getting their angles right. So you can see a few times there for Ireland that the ball carrier, but then the actual players who are going to clean out are too flat on when they're left and right. And so if they don't win the contact, the cleaners then, who are meant to be cleaning the ruck, can't get any sort of body height or entry into it.
Two-handed take there from Izuchukwu. Here's Byrne. Osborne pops it through with his left foot. Crawley's after it. Matsunaga comes across, deals with it nicely, but the green jerseys are getting there. Plenty of support from Japan. In terms of a fitness level, the Japanese certainly coping.
Yeah, what a lovely kick from Jamie Osborne, and I suppose why that's looking, just everything's gone well here, getting the ball into his foot, he just drops it onto the foot, and when you see the picture come out, that's in between the covering 15, the winger is up, they don't have the short side, there's space in there to be exploited, and when you're in a 9-point game, you've got 5 minutes on the place, the most valuable currency you have is territory.
Jamie Osborne is fulfilling a vital role for Ireland. It's what the old French call the polyvalent. In other words, a player who can operate in various roles. Fullback, midfield, wing. He's done it all for Ireland.
Yeah, they've got a few of them. Jimmy O'Brien is the utility tool as well. He can cover multiple positions. I think for Jamie Osborne, there is a danger that he falls into that category of being great at lots of positions, but not maybe a specialist in one or two. And I think we are trying to find, played on the wing last week, we can probably see that's not a great fit. Maybe a little bit more comfortable at full-back, but we wonder, is the best place going to be 12-13 for him going forward?
So Ireland with a little bit of a safety buffer now. Tom Stewart with the throw. How does this go? That's a good take from Ryan that time. The line out has been taken down illegally by Japan, so there's the penalty here, but Nathan Doak onto his Ulster teammate Izuchukwu. They need something to underline this victory, I think, to Ireland, to go away happy.
I like Nathan Doak. Look at his head when you see him going into that ruck. He is scanning all the time. Look at that head. He's looking left, he's looking right. He is desperate to try and find something here to stand out. He's only got he only gets 10 minutes in the game, but I love that with scrum halves in particular, when they're scanning, looking for opportunities.
Well, there's a second penalty conceded, so you reckon there might be even a yellow card perhaps coming here.
Offside.
Well, there was the warning, and then in that phase of play, there were 2 penalties conceded. So Japan are reduced to 14 with 3 minutes to go. So that is how they will see out the contest.
Yeah, and I think
Collapse and offside.
Under Piardi, they've been very clear. Collapse and offside. Multiple penalties. Multiple offenders.
Timoney! Already one try tonight there from Tom Stewart.
No, heads!
Here's Doak over the top to Kieran Frawley. Frawley covered in the option of finding Jimmy O'Brien, but O'Brien perhaps isolated. Here's Illo.
No heads!
2.5 minutes remaining on the clock. They've got a one-man advantage, Ireland. Can they show the same sharp edge that they demonstrated in the first half? Well, the answer this time is no.
Yeah, kind of a self-inflicted penalty there. Ty Byrne actually gets in front of the ball carrier and, oddly enough, seals him off. And that is
what a kick.
Yeah, a lovely kick.
And it's situations like this that Andy Farrell will look at and focus on that, because they know next week at Eden Park, those are the chances you've got to take.
You know, it jumps out of me there, it would be Joe Schmidt talking about body fight on the ground, and that's the difference between club and international level. You can fall on the ground like that and keep the ball at club level. International, you got to fight everything you have to keep that ball, get it back on your own side and not give away a penalty.
Inside the last 90 seconds. Well, victory is going to elude Japan here, but I think that they can go away after that sequence of results. Around Wales very close in November. They beat Georgia in Tbilisi. And then they started off this July campaign, this first ever Nations Championship, with victory against Italy, and that time well, things just petering out a little bit for Ireland. Jamie Osborne unable to grab hold of that.
Yeah, a little bit. You just kind of, Japan trying to loosen up the game to try and just push a few passes, and it hasn't gone their way. Ireland, I think, robust enough in defence to be able to contain a late scurry or late flurry from the Japanese attack. I think just the cohesion for Ireland just hasn't been there, and I think, you know, you look at all the changes, the debutants. Everything.
Is that the cause of it?
I think it has to be. And I think that has to be, we have to be fair to Ireland that all of these changes, there is a lot of value in this game. There's a lot of good things, there's an awful lot of bad things, an awful lot of work-ons. But when you make that many changes at this stage in the season, with that amount of debutants, I think there will be always a knock-on to the performance. Now, you don't make excuses, you add context. And I think there is a context to this. They still are likely to win the game with 40 seconds on the game, on the clock. So that is the job done. And then context comes in, I think, and is useful afterwards.
So the reason for the pause is that Japan do need a front row specialist or a hooker specialist here. So, well, they're bringing on Takato Akabe. They lost their hooker now to Era.
Okay, number 8
to the sin bin. So there is.
Okay, we got 8 against 8
Era.
in scrum. Yeah.
Well, they've now got to sacrifice the player, and it's going to be Jack Cornelson, who leaves us.
Make sure the break is in play. Come here.
And they've looks as if we've got Sojiro Otsuka, the replacement loosehead, who is operating as hooker for this. What will almost certainly be the final scrum of the match.
Fine. Set.
Nathan Doak as well. It's uncontested. There's Burke. On to Osborne. Here's Robbie Henshaw. Bree makes the tackle. Doak. Ireland looking for that little final flourish. Ryan it is who presents it. Osborne with a long pass. Bounce pass out there to Cormac Achukwu, who takes on the Japanese defender. Byrne. Here's Ryan. This is more like it from Ireland. Doak again, and going through is Tom Stewart, the Ulsterman. Rounds things off for Ireland.
Really like that, and said it about Doak. He's looking, he wants to take his opportunity. On the previous, I think maybe 2 phases previous, he's lifted the ball and he's waiting for runners, and that's not good enough. When you're the 9, when your 9 is lifting the ball and they want to pass, your job's forwards around the corner, you've got to be there. They salvage it, they look back, and you could just see Doak saw that space, pops his head up, and there's no surprise it's one of his Ulster teammates that's seen the same hole that he has. So that's a great bit of play, well worked from the two players from the bench.
And the try is converted. So in the end, the scoreline reflects that Ireland the dominant force here, but there were times today when Japan asked serious questions. So, much changed side today. What do you make of that performance?
I think Stewart summed it up perfectly at half-time. Some good things and a lot of work on. The defence, I thought, was... I think the defence was the safety blanket for Ireland today. They were never really stressed by Japan. Japan couldn't really create. Ireland gifted them a try in the early game, but time to move on to New Zealand.
So it's 2 from 2 for Ireland. The Wallabies last week, and now Japan this. A 6th straight win for Andy Farrell.